In what way does your media product use, develop and challenge forms and conventions of real media products? My film challenges media conventions as I believe that the structure and the plot of my film is postmodern and goes against typical media conventions. One prime example of this is that the overall structure of my film is non-linear storyline. This involves the end or middle of the story to be at the start of the film. This, in my opinion, is a very good way to catch the audience's interest straight away. As I said earlier, my film is a social realist film, which also means that it challenges typical media conventions. Media text and film use a non-linear postmodern genre of a social realist film, which is a non-typical convention used in films. As my film is postmodern, this means that it challenges all types of typical media conventions, as the idea of postmodernism is that the conventions are against the norm, go against typical media text. Plus, when creating my film, I was very creative and experimental with my camera shots, mise-en-scene and storyline, and its structure, i.e. non-linear, challenges and goes against typical media conventions. Postmodernism includes being able to be experimental with your film. I believe that I did this in my film, and I used a lot of creativity, unique and unusual shots to go and create a postmodern film. Using postmodern shots as well as when making my film, I tried to go against typical media conventions, this meaning including unusual shot types, experimenting and creating my own shot types. Such media philosophers like Christopher Vogler said that to make a good film, you need to include a list of things. One of these was to be postmodern, experimental and create something no one has ever created before to catch the audience interest. My film also used randomness, which is a part of a postmodern film and convention which challenges typical media conventions. I tried to use as much randomness in my film as I could, with it making sense and having a good storyline at the same time, which was challenging, but from looking at my feedback I think I achieved. For example, having the non-linear start of the film, or at the end, at the start is random, yet it catches the audience interest. Plus I also include the flashback in my film to show the audience the overall reason behind the storyline. For the music, I used typical music which related to the emotion or feeling that should be or being expressed from the film at the time. I also included some unusual music at some points to express my experimental and creative side by using GarageBand to create my own genre of sound effects, mixed with music to create exciting, unique sound to add to the postmodern and show creative randomness and challenge typical media conventions. What have you learnt from your audience feedback? When I look back, evaluating and studying my feedback, I found that all my feedback was very positive, and I believe that I was given successful feedback for my film. Over 100 and counting people that have viewed my film. Within those 100 people, I've had feedback from 20 to 30 people in counting, who have all viewed my film from beginning to end. As I said, the feedback was successful and showed good results for my film. I learned from audience feedback that feedback and research from audience is very important. With it, you will not have a successful film, as you'll have no criticism and therefore improvements to maximise the quality of your film. By receiving feedback, I was also able to identify my target audience through looking at my feedback and seeing if it was either positive or negative. All of my feedback that I've received was positive, therefore I was able to identify my audience as people in my school year, generally above the age of 15, younger adults, male and female, and who possibly like action, quick-paced films which are also experimental and postmodern. The feedback told me that my audience felt that the storyline became uninteresting. However, they liked the flashback in the middle out of this, as it boosted the interest straight away of the audience and recaptured their interest. Therefore, from receiving this feedback, I'll improve the first scene in the house by cutting some clips and shortening the scene so that it gets straight to the action and cuts to the chase. The reason why I include so much into the house scene is to catch the good camera shots and show my use of editing and creativity, as I felt that this scene was really effective and showed off skills with the camera and editing. One member of my audience feedback also picked out that the camera shots and editing were very fast paced and suited the genre and moments of the film. Plus the handheld camera allowed the audience to see the action from the character's perspective. Another important part which was very much highlighted in my film and noticed throughout my audience feedback was the ending of my film, where the audience said that it was very effective as the part in the hospital when being rushed through hospital with the music and use of fingers in front of the camera to make it look like their eyes are closing to signify near death. To receive my feedback, I used social network sites such as Facebook as well as YouTube, as these were very popular websites with millions of people and a large population of the world visiting these websites every day. This will maximise my chance of feedback and views to get my film to the peak of its possible views and success. Plus, these two networks are a great place to upload and view your film with video access, which is also free. Plus people can also like and review and rate and comment on the videos and film, which is very useful for feedback. However, I learnt that my feedback was most important and popular from Facebook. Facebook is the best website for my feedback, as I could make contact with my friends for them to then view my film by simply going on Facebook. With little criticism, but once again the first part at the start with the long house scene was the only problem, which can be dealt with and changed. I use Web 2.0 to receive audience feedback by uploading and pushing my film and film information onto the net through using YouTube and Facebook. I found that my research was very reliable and helpful and gave me lots of help to improve my film. To gain as much feedback as possible, I also had a focus group which viewed my film in class and online in private time, and my friends viewed it in their own free time alongside with me. They could then speak to me face to face with discussion, debates, ideas and improvements, as well as positive criticism and feedback. By having a focus group, I found this very helpful for feedback, and I learnt that this is a very good way to receive feedback all at once, with group discussion to receive huge amounts of feedback all at once, which I found very helpful and one of the best and most reliable ways to receive feedback. As you can see from my blog, I have created a questionnaire questioning my target audience about certain points and aspects of my film. I found this also very reliable, as I was able to pick the people myself so that I know they were good, reliable answers. How did you use new media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? Throughout the production of my film, I used a range of new technology and software whilst creating my film. For example, to improve my advanced knowledge for editing and producing films, I used a whole new software and technology called Final Cut Express, which in my opinion is a very advanced and professional software created to edit your film. I've used iMovie HD to create my film. I used Final Cut Express to edit the more difficult scenes and parts of the films, where I wanted to edit clips which iMovie did not have the technology to do so. I also used GarageBand to produce and edit music for my film. I also had to create a film poster which could be advertised for promoting my film. I used several different forms of technology during the production of my poster. I'd take pictures and use my own photography skills. I had to show the examiner photography skills through using advanced knowledge such as ISO, shutter speed, depth of field. I thought that my images taken with a professional account of skill and knowledge. I used the Macintosh to upload and edit my images on iPhone. Before beginning the construction and production of my film, I had to plan and produce a storyline with the use of advanced skills and using my knowledge of media to use such things as match and action, use of lines, continuity, in editing, useful camera shots and angles. Therefore, I had to create a plan showing my ideas and camera shots by creating a storyboard. Once I created the storyboard, I took single pictures of each separate shot which I illustrated by myself to show what I was doing and what I'd be doing on the day of recording. I then used iMovie HD to put these into an animatic and create a short video of my storyboard to see where, and then uploaded this onto YouTube to use Web 2.0 for people to pull and share my media to others across the World Wide Web. Throughout my whole time in Media Studies A-level, I've been using myself for my very own blog online on the internet. WordPress is the blog that I used. It has all the information my film and Media Studies can be seen. This is another form of Web 2.0 which I can use to put all my information, statistics, finished products and my film onto my blog. To meet the criteria and standards for my A2 media project, I had to create both at least a 5-minute film and an advertising poster. My main products and interior text, such as my poster, and both an effective combination of products as they are both linked and related to the same media. My poster is strongly connected to my film as I use some film-related ideas from my film and input them into the poster to link the two. My poster is strongly related to my film, as for the main focus, the poster I use is the main character, which is myself. As the focus of the poster as being the main character of the film, it makes it easy to relate to the poster and therefore recognise the film. What I most like about my poster is that you can see from the image that it does not give too much away or reveal too much of the film, which adds tension and excitement. In the foreground of the poster is standing in front of a solid brick, which is the background and is positioned in the background as the character is looking into the wall. The rule surrounds and covers the whole background and is bigger than the character, which could signify that there is nowhere to run. The wall is a never-ending road and there no way out or any way to get across, which could be the message related to the film to do with running away from something. I've used 3 different images in one to show the point of lots of different perspectives in one. My poster is effective as it does not reveal too much and keeps the audience excited and does not ruin the storyline. So it's vague yet powerful to keep the audience interested. I think the main project my film is very effective is it has its own my own opinion feedback. It's unique and introduces a new type of genre to make film interesting, which makes it stand out from all the others as there is nothing else like it in the market. My film is effective as it is both postmodern and social realism, using ideas from my very own mind, showing my creativity in film also allows myself to be experimental and not have any limits or boundaries to keep within. Therefore, I introduce new ideas to the film, which makes my film unique and what makes it effective. I tried to come up with new camera shots, editing, music to create a postmodern film, which I feel I achieved from looking at my feedback. Some people may be bored of seeing the typical conventions in films, and this may lose their interest. Therefore, by having a postmodern film such as my own, this makes it interesting and a new, fresh genre type and a burst of film. My film is a social realist film, which could mean that my target audience could relate to my film as it's socially realistic, as my film takes situations from everyday life in cases such as murder and revenge and the urge for justice. I also had to write and produce a review for my film. I decided to write for Film 4 as I thought that my writing technique and style was best suited for this film review site. I used Microsoft Publish to create and produce my web page, where I used images and fonts and colour styles which suited similar to the real website of Film 4. I then wrote my review in Microsoft Word, where I described it from my own opinion. I feel that my review is effective for my film, as my film review was positive and showed my film in a good light. I use Web 2.0 as they have pushed and put on their images, information, opinions and ideas onto the internet for people to see. Film reviews are effective if you put them on the correct film site, which are best suited for your target audience, as it's most likely going to be found easy if you put it on the right one, which best matches your film, which I feel I achieved as Film 4 is best suited for my film. Film reviews are also easy to find your target audience and receive feedback from people as well as discussions and self-reviews. This is effective as reviews promote your film if the review is successful, as my reviews are persuasive and informal for those who wish to find out about the film.